right, we're going to talk about quadratic equations, and we're going to solve quadratic equations by factoring, and to solve quadratic equations by also graphing. So the first concept or new term we have is zero of the function, and that's a value of x for which f of x equals 0. Now when we talk about the zeros of the function, we are talking about the intersection of the graph and the x-axis. All right, if we want to diagram what we just spoke about, we have the x and the y-axis. We have a parabola opening up down, and it intersects the x-axis at 2 points, one to the left of the line of symmetry and one to the right of the line of symmetry. And those would be called my zeros of the function, or my answers, that as I'm trying to solve for x. Those are my possibilities.
Good.
In the zero product property, basically what it's saying is if you have two factors, a times b is equal to 0, then a has to be 0 or b has to be equal to 0. That's the only way you're going to get 0 as an answer. One of the factors would have to be equal to 0.
Okay, so for problem 1, it says, what are the solutions of the quadratic equation x squared plus 3x minus 18 equals 0? And so I have some steps there for you. And the first thing you want to do is factor first. So since I have a trinomial, I'm going to do trial and error, or guess and check. I need x squared, so we'll start out with x. And then I need factors of negative 18 that add to 3, and we're going to do plus 3 and plus 6 and a minus 3. And that will work. So do a quick FOIL back in your head and you'll get back to what you need. Now I have two binomials multiplied together. So if the product equals 0, then either x plus 6 has to equal 0 using the zero product property, or x minus 3 equals 0. And then we solve and you get x equals negative 6 or x equals 3. So that would be the solutions, to that quadratic equation. And then if you were to graph this, it's going to intersect the x-axis, Miss Hatfield, where?
At the points 6 and, at the points negative 6 and a positive 3.
Good, so it's another quick way to find points when you're drawing in your parabola. So, very good. All right, so problem 2, we're going to actually do this one using a graphing calculator, and I'm going to try to walk you through the steps without a visual here, so you're going to have to follow along carefully. First step is you always want to write it in standard form, and that's the case really for any of these, even if you were using zero product property and factoring. So I'm going to bring everything over to the left-hand side, and I'm going to get 10x squared. I'm subtracting x, so I'm going to get plus x, and I'm adding 4 minus 42 equals 0. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2, we're going to put the equation in the graphing calculator. So up at the y equals, when you hit that button in the top left-hand corner, I want you to put in the equation 10x squared plus x minus 42. And if you were to graph that, you are going to see it's a parabola opening up as it should. Your a value is positive, and you probably see something kind of like this maybe on your screen. And we're looking for those 2 points right there. We're looking for the zeros of the function. And it's possible you can kind of guess and figure out what they might be, but we're going to use, for step 4, we're going to use the feature on your calculator that is the 0 option. And what you do is you hit the second button and select Calc, which is right above the trace button in the upper right-hand corner. So it's the second button in. And if you look, you have options. You want to select number 2 that says 0. So when you get that selected, it's going to go back to your graph, and you're going to see on the bottom it'll say left bound, and it's going to tell you where your cursor is right now. There's an ordered pair on the bottom. Mine's showing 0, negative 42. I don't know if everybody's going to get the same one. I'm not quite sure how that works. But what you want to do is you want to key into which 0 you're going to go after. So let's focus on this 0 here first. And so if I'm going left bound, I want you to think of like you're driving a car. If I was coming in the left bound, I'm going to come up this way on my curve. So I want you to use the arrow key, and you're going to keep hitting the arrow key until you see your cursor right below the x-axis. If you go past the x-axis, you have to back it up one. So use the arrow key back and forth. Once you're right below the x-axis, you're going to hit enter. And then you get right bound question mark. Well, now we're coming in from up here. So now I want you to arrow past the x-axis till your cursor's blinking up here somewhere on the top. Hit enter again. It'll say guess, and you just hit enter through your guess, and it's going to give you your 0 at x equals 2. So that's one of our zeros. If we were to plug in 2 in for our x, that would make that equation equal to 0. To get your second 0 then, you're going to repeat steps 4 and 5. So we'll go back to second calc, select 0. Now we need to get the cursor over here. We're going to come in left bound. So if you're following, think of it like you're following a road again. I got to be above the x-axis. So I'm going to move my cursor until you can see it right above the x-axis. Remember, the ordered pair on the bottom of your screen is showing you where your cursor is located. So if you're completely clueless, you don't see it on your screen, look at where the ordered pair, what they're giving you for an ordered pair, and you have kind of an idea. So once I get it blinking up here, I'm going to hit left bound, enter. It'll say right bound, so I have to toggle it below. So just hit the arrow to get it below. Hit enter again. We get another guess, and then you get your other 0 at negative 2.1. So this 0 we could find pretty easily even if you went into your table feature. Should we talk a little bit about the table?
I think we should, definitely.
So then after you found your zeros, if you have like a whole number or an integer value for your 0, if you go to second again, that blue button in the top left-hand corner, and select table, which is right above your graph, if I were to arrow up and down and find my x value at 2, you can look over and see your y value is 0. And again, remember, we're finding the zeros of the equation. So there's one example. The reason why we can't find this negative 2.1 in our table is most of your tables are probably going up, changing by a value of 1 for your x values. And if you ask me tomorrow in class, I can kind of show you how to change your value so it's going up by even 1/10, and then you could see the negative 2.1 value is actually
Yep.
at 0. So, you have anything to add, Ms.
No, I think that's, we've got the solving of quadratic equations by factoring. And now we're using our calculator to help us do that by doing the factoring for us and setting those factors then equal to 0, you looking in our table and being able to find values that match up with y is equal to 0.
Good.
All right, so problem number 3, what are the solutions of the quadratic equation 5x squared minus 8x equals 18?
Or minus 8 equals.
Minus 8, I'm sorry, equals 18x. So first of all, we're going to put the equation in standard form. And from standard form then, we're going to put it into our calculator as y equals, and then 15x squared minus 18x minus 8. Then we're going to use our calc 0 function again, because what we're trying to find is where does that parabola cross the x-axis. Now, it's not going to, with the equation we have, we're not going to get nice, totally even numbers. But if we use the calc feature and go to calc 0, we'll find that x is equal to a negative 0.4 and a positive 4. We're probably getting those values because we're using our little cursor to come above and below the x-axis to find those intersection points.
Good. And so it's really just that easy. Absolutely. And if you were to plug those points back into the original equation, it would make that equation true. So that's how you do the calc feature on your calculator. Okay, so problem 4, we have this function, and it models the path of a baseball, where f of x gives the height of the ball and x is the distance from where it is hit in feet. And so this is a picture of a parabola opening down. It has a negative a value, and if you actually put this in your graphing calculator, you're going to have to play around with your window feature a little bit. If you just put it in and you graph it, you're not going to see the curve at all. Because part of it is we have to identify for C, what is a reasonable domain and range for such a function? And I'm actually going to jump to C right away because that's going to tell us, our domain will tell us what we want our window to be. And so you're going to start remember x is the distance where it is hit in feet. So we'll start at 0. And let's say you could hit a ball all the way out to 500 feet. That's a really long hit, but that's fair. So if you, here you're going to have to use some reasoning, and your answer might not be exactly the same as your neighbor's, but if you put 10 feet, that probably wouldn't be appropriate because you're going to hit a ball more than 10 feet. Then range, and again, I just kind of play around with it. Let's see, that is how high the ball goes up in the sky. So let's say we can hit it 100 feet up in the air, which is kind of ridiculous too, but that happens.
But it gives you a good range.
Now, the reason why I did this is when I'm graphing it, you want to go to your window feature in your calculator, and that's the second button in from your left. And you want to use 0 for your x min, 500 for your x max. 0 for your y min, 100 for your y max. Then when you graph it, you're going to see this nice curve like that. Okay, so again, x min 0, x max 500, y min 0, y max 100. You just change those values. Now we can see a curve, and we can go back and answer a few questions. It says, how far does the ball travel before hitting the ground? You got to think of what you're actually looking for. I'm trying to find that 0 right there. So you can use your second calc 0 feature again. Go left bound, right bound, so you're coming in from the left, you're coming in from the right, and you're going to find that 0 to be, 385 feet?
Yep.
So that's what the calculator is going to give you. Again, if you put 385 in here, you're going to end up with a y value of 0. How high does the ball go? Well, what is that really asking us? That's asking us for our maximum. So we need to find that vertex, and remember, max has to do with the y value. What's the highest value that this curve reaches? You're going to use the second calc feature on your calculator again. And I don't remember if we did this in previous lessons. Did we do the calculator for that? I don't remember.
We did not.
So you're going to go to second calc, and this time you want to pick number 4, maximum. And so select the number 4 option, and this is actually pretty darn easy. You just go down, select 4, and I don't even really care about left bound, right bound here. I just hit enter through until it actually gives me my value. And the maximum value it gives you, oh, it didn't work. I thought it did work.
No, it was there.
Second calc, I screwed up here, back up the bus. Yeah, you probably should go on the left-hand side of the curve. I thought it didn't really matter. But so scroll so that your cursor's blinking over here, hit enter. When it says right bound, get it to blink over here, hit enter, and then your guess, and then you ultimately get a value. And again, focus on the y value, so it's about 74 feet high in the air. I get an ordered pair like 192.5 and 74.11, so we approximated. So we answered C already when we adjusted our window. This is how, when it hits the ground, and that's our maximum, our height of the ball. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think we've accomplished everything that we wanted as far as solving quadratic equations using the graphing calculator.
Yep, sounds good. All right, good luck.